when I was working with my teacher, Mark Bregman, I had a series of dreams. Dreams are not, they're constantly, they're not one after the other. I mean, they're interrupted by other programs. But looking back, I could trace this series of dreams. I mean, at first I never saw my father in my dreams, which was interesting. And then I got emails from him. So the level of communication was kind of distant. And eventually I began to have dreams where I was with him, and I experienced a lot of anger in the dreams, and they were over trivial things. And I realized the depth of anger that I actually had, unfortunately, I felt for my father. And so over time, the relationship changed. I did a lot of work. And the way this works is you take moments from the dream and we do sort of homework. They become sort of meditations. So in other words, what could be a better meditation than some image that's been given to us in a dream to work with and possibly to change? So, for instance, seeing my father at the moment when I was angry in a certain dream and just realizing I didn't really have to be angry and sort of trying to struggle with that as a meditation once an hour. And so over time, the dreams changed, and I changed. Part of it had to do with as I could relate to him more from the place of being a boy, essentially, of going back to that place in my life when I was a boy and he was my father, and being able to have the natural feelings that a boy has that I'd lost track of. And so I had to accept that too, which meant I had to get past a lot of my pride. I had one dream where we were sitting at a table and we were discussing a book, and there was a word that I didn't understand, but I knew that my father knew that word. And Mark said, well, why didn't you ask him for help? And I realized how proud I was and how self-sufficient I was and how there was no way I was going to ask him. So that was my homework, of course. And I just practiced asking him, what does the word mean, Dad? And by doing that, something softened in me, and something shifted in me, and the dreams changed. And eventually, I had this wonderful dream. It really wasn't a wonderful dream. In a way, it was a nightmare. But this house was falling apart. That was my house. And I called my father and said, help. And that was really a big change. And immediately these painters showed up and shored up the house and fixed it very magically. So that's the kind of change of heart you can have by working with the images in your dreams. And it's not just the dreaming, but also the homework, and it's the rhythm back and forth between the two that takes you to a place where you've really changed your heart, and therefore you've changed how you behave in the dream, which is at a much deeper level of change. I mean, I began to realize that wasn't really below the anger was a hurt. And then when I understood the hurt, I could forgive him. And I felt I was cheating myself of feeling the love that I actually felt for him. And so I began to express that, and he expressed it, and the last 3 years of his life, we just had a whole different relationship.